this wave of attacks is not the result of lack of political horizon. We've been suffering terror attacks for the last 95 years. 1920, 1921, 1936 to 1939, the Fedayeen attacks, the Intifada attacks, they were actually at their height during the beginning of the Oslo peace process, and people said, well, this is because these are enemies of peace. So the result, the explanation for the terrorist waves that we had then was the advance of peace. Now they say you have terrorist attacks because there is no peace. Neither is true. They're attacking us not because they want peace or don't want peace, it's because they don't want us here. If they're frustrated, I assure you that frustration will continue because we're going to continue to be here. As far as settlements are concerned, this is not a result of a massive wave of settlement because there's not been a massive wave of settlement. And second, we have something else. And the facts count. It is the very killers themselves who explain why they're doing what they're doing. They leave behind Facebook pages in which they cite and repeat Palestinian incitement about the Al-Aqsa Mosque. All the lies that are said about us trying to bring down the mosque or change the status quo, they cite that as the reason for their activity. And you can't fit a false template on reality. This is what is driving this current wave. I'm sorry. The old models don't apply. There's a Palestinian attempt to inflame violence based on the false allegations that we are changing the Temple Mount, now on the false allegations that we're executing innocent civilians. Doesn't wash. And I expect our friends around the world to look at these facts, recognize them for what they are, and I think to condemn these Palestinian attacks and to demand from Abu Mazen to stop the incitement and to restore calm. Now, we're not going to divide the city any more than people who are putting curfew in neighborhoods and towns in Europe or in the United States on occasion are dividing those cities. So don't get swept away, don't carry it away. Don't build your hopes high. That's the first point. The second point is, look, we expect every fair-minded observer to see that Israel is using exactly the kind of legitimate and the amount of legitimate force that any one of those governments, and those municipalities, and those police forces would use if they had people wielding knives, meat cleavers, axes, trying to kill people on their streets. What do you think would happen in New York if you saw people rushing into crowds trying to murder people? What do you think they would do? You think they'd do anything different from what we're doing? They might, actually, but certainly not less, okay? And what would happen in Washington? And what would happen in London? Or what would happen in Paris or Rome or Moscow or anywhere else? Of course, this allegation is totally false. It's utterly false. It's also utterly unfair because it's so obviously, patently false. So I expect fairness, and I expect to put blame where it's due. And to say, here's a fact. We're now being told from the hospital that the condition of the Palestinian would-be murderer is light, but the condition of the young boy that he attacked is actually very critical. So the attacker comes out on the cheap, so to speak. And yet people are making a moral symmetry at best between the attacker and his victim. And much worse, they're accusing Israel of being the guilty party in this case, and that just will not fly. You know, the first order of the day in fighting terrorism is moral clarity. Nothing justifies terrorism. Nothing exonerates it, and stop trying to explain it away. This is terrorism, murder, pure and simple. Abu Mazen is inciting murder. Make him accountable and stop trying to justify it in any way. Not with settlements, not with peace process, not with anything. It is unjustifiable and unacceptable, and the mere fact that this is brought up as a possible explanation, of course, gives the terrorists a justification that they don't even use. They might now, but they haven't up to now, and that tells you a lot.